So, in all of that, thank you again for being here. Thank you for supporting Sherry in her endeavor to make a difference. I keep telling her this. I said, you really have something here. This is down the road, in years to come, it's going to be big. I told her, I said, at the current rate of growth, by 2017, we'll have about 3,000 people signing up for the challenge. We'll need 9 locations in Boise just to house that many people. So that's what we're attempting to do with this, and we're making a difference. So with that, I want to talk to you a little bit about, about motivation and inspiration. I believe this, that everything that I have ever accomplished in my life that has been good or worthwhile has come through the motivation and inspiration from somebody else. Either a book that I read, a movie that I watched, a song that I listened to, or a speaker that spoke. Somewhere, someone has inspired me. As I was thinking about this and putting it together, I had a thought of an experience that I had with that, and I wanted to tell you that story. So I went through it in my mind, but before I said, I better watch this. A video that I watched years ago, I said, I better watch this again. I watched it again, and when I got through with it, I said, I can't tell you that story, because I can't do it justice, because when I got through with the story, I was so motivated again, and I know that if you watch this, you'll be much more motivated than if I told you this story. So, many of you have probably seen this before, but even if you have, I guarantee it will touch you again, because when I got through watching it the other day, I was in tears. It is such a motivating story. It's a great, great example of how we can be motivated. So, we'll watch this, and then I'll take a few more minutes to tell you why this was important to me. So, Toby.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees, or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes, when I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever, forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
I used to run occasionally with my daughter Katie, who's an avid runner and a very good runner. One day she said to me after we were running, she said, "Dad, let's run a marathon together." I'd run Roby Creek a couple of times. I remember the first time I ran Roby Creek, and I got to the end of it and I thought I was going to die. And I remember this distinctly, thinking, I can't imagine turning around and running that back, the other 13.1 miles. I just couldn't even think that I could. So when she said, "Let's run a marathon," I thought, I don't think I can do that. I don't want to do it. It wasn't anything I was interested in doing. So over the next 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years, I don't remember the length of time, but she would occasionally say it again, "Dad, let's run a marathon. Let's run a marathon." I said, "No, no, no." Then I watched that. And I said, "You're kidding me. He can do that? And I can't run a marathon." So I called her up and I said, "Katie, let's run a marathon." So we spent the next 3 or 4 months training together, and we ran a marathon. We had, the best part of it was the time we had together as we trained and talked. But the point is, it's things like that that motivate us to do more than what we are now doing. We underachieve in so many areas of our life. We just settle for life. Don't do that anymore. I talk to a lot of people about this because I have a passion about it. What I do for my business makes us money. What Sherry does, we love to do. So I support what she does right now. But people ask me what I do, and I say, it doesn't matter what I do. Well, let me tell you what my wife does. But when I talk to people, oftentimes they'll tell me why they can't do FitMania, why they can't have this experience. And there's 3 reasons. Number 1, time. Number 2, money. And number 3, they have something wrong with them physically, a physical problem that won't allow it. So I want to just cover those really briefly because these are myths. We all have the same amount of time. There's 24 hours in a day. Now, right now, Sherry and I have more time in our lives because we don't have our 6 children that we're raising anymore. It's just us. We have more time, so I understand that. But while we were raising 6 children, we still exercised. Let me tell you about your time. You spend 33% of your life sleeping. If you work 40 hours a week, you spend 23% of your life working. The average American watches 4.5 hours of television a day. That's 19% of your life. If you do 45 minutes of boot camp 5 days a week, that's 2%. Let's add 1 more percent for travel time, 3%. Surely you could give up a little of your TV and a little of your sleep so that you can have the physical health in your life that you should have, so that when you're at that age, you can still do those kind of things, that you don't have any excuses. Time, we all have the same amount. Just adjust it and make it work. Money is the second thing. I'll tell you this right now. If you don't spend the money today to take care of yourself, your body, the way you should, I guarantee you'll spend it tomorrow. And you'll spend much, much more than what you'd be spending to take care of it today. I guarantee you that. The other thing about money, let me tell you this, because I have some people in my life that are in this situation. If you're a smoker and you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, that's $150 a month. You get rid of the cigarettes, you could do a boot camp, you could do it with you and your spouse for what you're spending on cigarettes. If you drink soda, the average male between 12 and 29 drinks 165 gallons of soda a year. That's 3 55-gallon drums. That's a lot of soda. It's about a 6-pack a day. Get rid of the soda, you can pay for the boot camp. Those are just a couple of examples. Trust me, you can come up with a way to do it. There's always a way if you want it bad enough. The third one, and this is my favorite, are people who have problems physically who can't do it because of, and I understand there are some things that you have to do or you have to be somewhat limited. But we found in the last challenge, there were 4 or 5 people who came in with something wrong with them physically, that while they were doing the 12-week challenge, it went away. It went away. A couple of those is one of my favorites is Mario, Casey, our trainer Casey, her husband. He had a back issue. He'd come into FitMania. I'd see him once in a while and talk to him, and his back was just a major problem. He had a bulging disc and sciatic up his leg, and sometimes he could barely move. And he did the last challenge, And at the end of the challenge, I saw him the last day we were doing pictures, and he looked great. I said, Mario, you look great. I hadn't seen him because he's one of those crazy workout at 5 a.m. people, right? So I never got to see him. But there he was, and I said, hey, by the way, how's your back? And he said, Ken, he said, it's not better. He said, it's gone. I have no issues. I just talked to him earlier today, and he said, it's totally gone. And he had gone through all of the doctor, what they told him is rest, lay down for a year and don't move. He said, I did exactly the opposite of that. I moved, did the boot camp, and if you ever worked out with a guy, he is an animal. He works out like crazy, and his back problems are gone. And then Toby, this is my favorite. He won most inspirational. If you haven't seen his before and after pictures, go look at him. Because Toby started out doing the challenge on one leg, literally. He had had 5 knee surgeries on this one knee. It was a total mess. I would work out with him sometimes, and we'd do run and touch, and he would be dragging that leg behind him. And it was just amazing watching that. And then he came in, and I looked at his before and after pictures, and it was absolutely amazing, the results he had on one leg. There was no limits for him. So don't let an illness stop you from being healthy. I have good health in my life. Both Sherry and I do. We don't go to the doctor. Last winter, we both got sick. We had the flu. That is the first time in 28 years that I've missed a day of work since I opened my business. The first time. When I go to the doctor, I love this. You know, they give you the little clipboard with all the paper on it. You got to check all the things that are wrong with you. I don't even read them. I just check, no. I don't have anything wrong with me. And I tell you what, even if I did, I'm not going to check those boxes. I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. But I think for some people, it's like a badge of honor. Yeah, I got that. No, you don't want those things. You don't want them. You don't have to have them. And so what Sherry is trying to teach, and what the idea behind this is live a lifestyle that you can live a long, healthy lifestyle, that you have no limits. And let me close with this story. A few years ago, Sherry and I were in Thailand. Before we left, she said, I don't care what we do, but I want to ride an elephant. Okay, I'm thinking, I've ridden horses before, and that's about as high as I want to go. I've had horses take off running with me before that I couldn't stop and thought, what do you do with an elephant when that happens? So I wasn't that excited about it. But when we got there, she said, what about our elephant ride? Okay. So we go find the elephants. We ride up a river on a boat, and we get up there, and there's this remote village. And here's the elephants. And see, now how do you get on these things, right? Have you ever ridden an elephant? You don't put your foot in the stirrup and throw your leg over the elephant. What you do is you go up a flight of stairs that's about like this, going up that, and you get on a platform that's about that high. Not quite. An elephant weighs 10,000 pounds. He's 10 foot high. That's probably about 12 foot. So it's up there a long ways. There's a notch in the board, in the platform. The elephant walks into it head first. You walk out onto his head, across his neck, into a 2-seater. There's no seat belts. You're just hanging on for life, literally. But as we're standing there waiting for the elephant to come in, they're coming in, there's these 2 women on the elephant getting off. And these are elderly women. I'm talking old women. They're probably 80 years old. And I'm thinking, hey, they can do it, I can do it, right? They get off. As they're getting off the elephant, I said to them, how was it? How was the ride? And they said, oh, it was wonderful. And one of them looked at me and said, it's right up there with a hot air balloon ride over the pyramids. And I thought, that's where I want to be when I'm 80 years old. I don't want to be sitting in my house in my living room watching other people have experiences. I want to experience life. Take care of yourself physically so that you can have those experiences for a long, long time. If you do that, then you'll have a full life. You'll have great opportunities to make a difference in the world, and to see things, and to see places, and to have adventures that you never thought were possible. Thank you.